What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So on tonight's episode, we actually have the opportunity to sit down with the co-founder and COO of Matic Network, Sandeep Nailwal. How's it going?
Yeah, hi, K-Dub. I mean, this is like really amazing to be on your amazing channel. Very excited to be here.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And to be honest with you, full transparency, this is not a sponsored interview. In fact, the community was literally demanding that we sit down and talk. And although I was a little skeptical at first, because let's be honest, I mean, there's been a lot of potential, scaling solutions. I actually had an opportunity to look into this a little bit deeper, and I was actually impressed. So I want to say thank you again for taking time out of your day for doing this, for the community and for the channel. Thank you.
Pleasure is all mine.
Absolutely, man. So why don't we just basically get it right out of the way? What exactly is Matic? I mean, I guess people sort of kind of have an idea, but what are you trying to solve? Like, what are the problems that you see out there that you think that Matic Network can, implement a better solution for?
Yeah. So let me attempt it in a different way. So right now you see that many of the other, projects, let's say Tron and EOS are coming up. Why? Because they have like faster transactions, low gas fees, low costs for the transactions. And then there are a lot of people who they are developing. Like these projects are saying that, okay, if you see the statistics, a lot of people are developing on them, right? But Ethereum had the original mind share, right, of all of these dApp developers. And even now, like by far 95% of the developer firepower and the brain power, is developing on Ethereum. Now imagine you had all of those same features plus the security of Ethereum on Ethereum itself, right? If as a developer on Ethereum, whatever you are doing on Ethereum main chain, you can simply use the same code, everything same, port your application in like 20 minutes, and then have your application up and running with these small, like much fast transactions and like 1/100th of the fees that you were paying on Ethereum, and exactly same experience, exactly everything, no need to change your code and everything, and users, they are also already familiar with Ethereum and nonsense. That brings like I sometime in my internally I call it that we are somehow bringing a sort of a EOS or whatever on top of Ethereum, right? Mm-hmm. So you're building that power to Ethereum, and now you have like billions of dollars of projects already built on Ethereum itself. Now this immediately get that kind of power of scalability for themselves.
Right, but I mean, before we get into it, I want to ask the I guess it's like the elephant in the room, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, how many times have we had these different scaling solutions trying to implement themselves, right? I mean, we've had a lot of projects. I'm not going to go in and name each individual one. I mean, we even have Bitcoin Lightning Network. You could talk about that if you want. But on Ethereum alone, we've seen multiple projects trying to essentially set up these, like, mostly with state channels, and things of that nature. So why are you guys so different? Like, what makes your solution better?
Yeah. So see, one of the biggest thing is that when you talk about this scaling solution, so many of them are experimental projects also. Like, even if they are able to implement some particular approach, that's not like user friendly, that's not usable. And, for developers also, it's crazily difficult to build on top of them. But compare that with Matic, our main focus is two things. Everybody talks about user experience. Of course, user experience is important for us also. The second thing is the developer experience, like how quickly you can acquire that developer traction. And Matic actually, piggybacks on a large developer, ecosystem of Ethereum itself. Like I'm saying that if you are an Ethereum developer, you are a Matic developer already, and you don't need to learn even anything new to start porting your application to Matic Network. And then, suddenly your application, which had 15-20 second confirmation times of the transactions, and then, heavy cost of gas, now your application is as good as a, centralized application. That is the power. Like in a very simplified way, I'm telling that, whatever applications already are there on Ethereum, and, Solidity is already one of the most used programming language for blockchain applications and dApps. We are enabling all of them with a scalability platform where they don't have to do anything. Simply go deploy and start using it and push it out to the developers.
And you're utilizing Plasma Sidechains, correct?
Exactly.
That's what you're doing. Now, some people watching, they may not really understand the difference between like a simple state channel, which is what most of them out there are doing. Some people might say it's like a glorified bar tab, right?
Yeah.
And then you guys are doing something totally different. So I really want to stress that and make sure that we let people know the difference, so that
so I will very basically I will tell one thing that, okay, so off-chain computation is basically three ways. One is state channels, One is the state channel approach, where you see the Lightning Network, Seller Network, Raiden Network. All of these on different blockchains are state channel efforts. What you do there is that you sign a contract on the main chain on some state. Let's say that state is some asset balance that we have, and then you take that asset outside. You keep transacting on them. You and me, like if we are transacting, we have to open a channel on the side chain. I mean, on the off chain computation, we do a contract on main chain, and we have this state on the off chain level, and then we do our transactions. This is off chain, and then if we want to settle those transactions, then we have to bring those transactions onto the main chain, push it onto the main chain, and then a contract executes and it settles.
And there's like sort of a degree of centralization a little bit, right?
Centralization, and it's more like peer to peer also. Like with Lightning Network, there is a centralization because they are managing the data. But if it's like purely decentralized, it's between you and me, then we have to take care of that data, right? So let's say we played a game and I won in chess, and my phone conked off, and I'm now asking, and we had a bet of 5 ether. I'm asking you that, hey, I lost the data. Can you give me the data? Because you are not going to settle it because you lost 5 ether, right? So, but I lost the data somehow, for example, or we both lost the data. Then nobody has that data, right? So you cannot settle it back to the main chain, and it's now in a this thing. So that's the those are some problems with state channels, which like state channel is the most explored off-chain computation approach, to be honest. Like it's been there for last 3-4 years. Now side chain is an approach where you take the assets from the main chain to a side chain, which is a full blockchain in itself, and it has all the properties of the blockchain, maybe a slightly curtailed amount of decentralization and this thing, but you do transactions on the side chain. Now when Plasma comes into the picture, so what happens is that Plasma ensures that even if sidechain is trading off bit of decentralization for the scalability, but the users have the control over their assets through the main chain itself. Like, this is very important. Through the main chain itself means if you as a user took your assets to the sidechain, and then you are not happy with the sidechain, something fishy happening, or sidechain gets a bug and everything gets destroyed, you from the main chain can say that, hey, I own these 10 ethers, you have the last proof with you simply submit it, and you get your assets on the main chain itself. So also, when just to explain the structure, like overall, and we know the blockchain trilemma, like the decentralization trilemma, right? Scalability trilemma that Vitalik says that, okay, out of scalability, decentralization, and security, you can choose two, right? Now I will take a step back and explain how Matic works. So in the below part, you have the Ethereum main chain, right? And then on top of it, you have a Matic validator layer, which keeps validating the transactions. And on top of that, you have a block producer layer, which is generating the blocks and taking the transactions, putting them in a block. Now what happens is that every 5 minutes, a snapshot, you can call it in a very layman terms, gets created. Cryptographic snapshot gets created, and it's submitted to the main chain. Using this proof, you can control exercise your assets on the main chain itself. Now if you see that the decentralization trilemma, what is happening is that you are trading off with some of the decentralization at this layer to achieve the scalability, right? So this layer is providing you the scalability, but the below layer, this is a Matic validator layer, which is a very highly decentralized layer. It is validating all the transactions. If anything fraud happening, then this is the layer which will pinpoint to these guys. And so this layer provides you decentralization, and Ethereum at the end, at the bottom layer, is also providing you this decentralization and security. So what you did basically, you broke that trilemma into 3 layers, and now you have you are trading over using scalability here, doing decentralization and security in these 2 layers.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty interesting, actually. But before we get into this, because we could literally just talk about tech for the entire video. But I wanted to ask something. Now I saw recently that Coinbase Ventures actually invested in you guys, right? Now I wanted to ask a question about the relationship. Are they going to somehow, like, are they just investing and that's it, or is Coinbase going to look to use Matic technology, or like how far along is this thing? I want to know what's going on, who's building on it, who's using it, where are you guys right now in the whole timeline?
Yeah. So and apart from Coinbase investing in us, you may have seen that the head of engineering of wallet at Coinbase, Pete Kim, he's our advisor, right? So he's advising Matic, and he advises on a lot of adoption things and all that. And in our published publishing that we did for the Coinbase this thing. So their wallet will have Matic integration. Coinbase wallet will have Matic integration.
So it is Coinbase wallet's going to use Matic. That's a fact.
Yeah. I mean, it is going to support the assets on the layer 2. Yeah. So those kind of things, and there are like other things like we are going to support USDC. So we think that USDC is going USD coin. That the stable coin from Coinbase.
Mm-hmm.
So USDC. We are going to support USDC on the sidechain for a lot of stablecoin use cases, like.
Can I ask a question about that though? Okay, some people I know, right? I'm going to cut you off because people are going to ask right away. If you're allowing USDC as a stablecoin that you're going to be integrating into your sidechains as an option to pay for network transaction fees, then what's the utility of the token? Matic.
Yeah. So it's not only about the when I say integration, I'm saying that you can use USDC on the sidechain.
Okay.
First of all. Right. And the second thing is that the second question, which is a very pertinent question that you brought in. So Matic token has like 2-3 kinds of utility. The first utility is the the staking. So Matic's base utility is the staking part, right? And crypto community and the crypto network economics community has converged to, by and large, to a point where we say that the gas fees, paying the gas fees for a transaction, and doing which creates a lot of velocity for the token, does not add the value accrual of the project in the long run. Because imagine, like, if there was, let's say, a service which you can use for the cash, and you simply at that instant when you are doing a transaction, you buy some gas fees from the card and then pay it for the gas fees for the transaction and simply be still at zero. So why would you, like, there is no reason to hold the token, right? So, the gas fees does not add too much of value to it. But having said that, Matic token is used as a gas fees. But in the future, we are also going to increase the adoption. We are going to use, we expect to use these other coins like DAI, USDC, and other stable coins, which are more popular, to pay for the gas fees. Because the primary utility is the staking, and then a lot of, different things like coin burn and all that. So value accrual parts come from there. The gas fees, we think that for user experience. So, for example, you have USDC or DAI, and if you want to go and use Matic chain, like, we don't want every user to, like, first acquire Matic tokens and then start using it. That's a very bad user experience. Like, for example, on Ethereum, you have to play some game. You have to first acquire Ethereum, then acquire some gaming tokens, and then start using it.
That is true. That is true. Especially if somebody, now here's a situation: somebody sends you some ERC20s to an empty wallet. I can't get them out. I can't move them. Now I got to send a second transaction to get them out. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a very bad user experience. So imagine you had the facility of sending that ERC20 token and paying the gas fees in that ERC20 itself.
So you said, but so it's staking too, right? You said, now what is is it just a set percentage, or does it have something to do with network activity? Like, if there's more network activity, does staking increase percentage, or how does that work?
Exactly. So see, Matic sidechains are proof of stake sidechains. That's why they are very fast and scalable and low CPU power. So they are not like proof of work chains. These are proof of stake chains. So the validators in the network who are actually doing the mining or the validating, they get mining rewards as well as transaction fees. So they have to put a large amount of stakes, because that staking provides the the security for the network. Like, if you are a validator, you have to put a large amount of security to become a miner, and you are getting rewards and everything out of this. If you try to do something goofy for the with the chain, and you get detected, a large part of your stake is slashed. So that's actually, the token is actually a security mechanism. Otherwise, you don't even need a token. Like, this is a sidechain network. If the network is only a payment token, most of the times you don't need it. Why do you need a token for yourself? I mean, you can simply use the payments in the Ether or DAI or any other standard coin which people have, which is more adopted already.
So you're not really, there's no competition here. What you're trying to do is you want to bring everything together. You're not trying to compete. You're trying to actually be like the glue to bring everything together. I think that's really interesting, man. Do you have any right now? So I don't know how far you are along. I mean, you guys are testnet. Is that where you are currently?
Yeah, we are testnet and very, very close to alpha mainchain. I mean, like 80, 85, 90% we have already developed. We'll be very soon going into the mainnet.
Is anybody using it? Like, anyone that we would know right now? Has anyone trialed it? Is anyone planning to use it right now?
Yeah, so there are many like well-known teams. So one of them is a top 100 project like Decentraland, they are already building their marketplace. So Decentraland is a virtual world on blockchain, right? So
okay.
Yeah, and they are building their marketplace on top of Matic Network, where you can trade the assets, lands, and everything over there on the side chain. And then they also want to make it like a mass appeal. So rather than only trading land, in future you have games. So imagine a Pokemon Go on top of a decentralized virtual world. So a team is already building that. It's called Chain Breakers. Like, just go to their site, you'll be mesmerized with the in-game assets, this thing. So they are already building, right? So, and then there are other teams who are building, like, these games, and some of them are also integrated to Decentraland. Then there are big teams in like US, like Pocket Full of Quarters. They are SEC compliant gaming token, so they are making a gaming currency which will be used by multiple games. They are also building on Matic. And these are like one of the like some of the key things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, once again, we can talk all day about use cases in tech and stuff like that. But I know people have the attention span sometimes of goldfish on this channel. So I do want to keep it moving. This is a very interesting conversation, though. I have to say, shout out to the community for suggesting this one. What was the other question? Oh, actually, the community had one specific question they wanted me to ask you before we move on, and they were just curious. Currently, right now, your circulating supply is about a fifth of the total supply. Why did you want it so low initially? What was your logic behind that?
I mean, we have 32% token supply already released in the market. So
it is already, because okay.
Yeah. So, and there are no big lockups, like to be like, there every month lockups and this kind of stuff. There is only, so we hardly sold, 10 to 15% to private sale, which is like 3.8%. And half of that got unlocked on day zero. And then other half is unlocking only after 6 months, which is like 1.9%. Everything else is with the community.
I had a look at it. You guys had, not to cut you off, but you had one of like the fairest IEOs, I would say. The most people were allowed to get in, right?
Yeah. Even like I feel so that we did one of the most fair ICOs in the recent times. And I compare it with somewhere like something like what Holochain was able to give, or able to do, like give maximum to the community, not to the the big VCs and stuff like that. Yeah.
That was just a question that they were curious about. So all right, that's the clarification. But getting back to what we were talking about now, there is something else that separates you guys, and it's not just all of this, but it's the team. You have a lot of experience. I mean, and I wanted to actually talk to you about that. And I wanted to ask you why you guys think that you're the most qualified to sort of achieve what you're saying based on your team and your experiences.
Yes. So many people don't know that, we were the team which actually implemented one of the first implementations of Plasma MVP. And, and then we also are the team behind one of the famous Ethereum products called Dagger, which is a free project to catch Ethereum events. So you have these events on the contract. So as a developer, you can catch those events and then do something in your application. For example, there's a ERC20, I made you a payment, and then the developer wants to catch that event and give you a pop-up that, hey, you received 20 tokens, right? Now, what cool thing we did was that we integrated with Zapier, So Zapier is a if-then that, if TTT, they call it. So is a feature. So now what developers can do without doing too much of work, they can simply integrate an event into directly your SMS, email, Slack, whatever. So they simply do this integration with their contract, catch an event, and then send you a notification on whatever medium that you're working on. Like, they can even take this thing, and somebody can build an application where any ERC20 transaction you do, it directly feeds that ERC20 transaction into some Google sheet of yours where you are tracking your asset. So, and imagine a DEX. So you are doing a transaction on a DEX, and then you get a email on your email. You get, hey, your order got executed. Right. So those kind of features the developers can build without working too much on that. So that's Dagger for you. Then there's a famous Wallet Connect protocol, which is a Ethereum grant receiving protocol. We developed the core protocol, because if you have seen Matic, have you seen Matic Wallet? Like, I've got raved reviews.
I haven't had a chance to. I'll be honest. Probably by the time this comes out, I will have used it. But at this very moment, I haven't tried it yet. So
just try it out. You will like. I have heard from many people that this is like one of the most coolest wallet that they have seen, especially when it has main chain and Plasma on top of it, like a side chain. But we have made sure that the user experience for the user, it's like completely seamless. They don't need to know, like
that's good, because you want to make it simple. The worst thing that I've seen with some of these, you have brilliant minds, then you get this user interface, and I'm like, what can I do with this? I can't do anything.
Exactly. So for a user, they like, our motto is that this blockchain should go invisible. Like, for example, do you know that TCP/IP is everything? Like, when we are doing this call, behind this is TCP/IP. You don't need to know it, right? So that's our motto, that make blockchain invisible, right? So that's one part. And then I was talking about the product and the experience. Like, so wallet connect protocol, originally, if you see our wallet connect, so wallet connect protocol, what it allows you is that right now, let's say you want to use a dApp, so you go to the your browser, and then MetaMask pops up, and anything you want, anytime you have to do an interaction, MetaMask will pop up, you will confirm. But here what you've done is that, so wallet connect, you have a mobile app, right? And then you go to the site. So simply you can go to like, after you download the wallet, simply go to wallet.matic.network. It will open you something on the web browser interface, and you can simply say, okay, I want to log in. So it will show you a QR code. You simply scan the QR code from your mobile and simply say, okay. Essentially what you're doing is that your mobile has the
it's
private
like WeChat a little bit, how it does it.
Exactly. So you have that kind of user interface where your private key always stays on your phone. You never need to go and import it onto MetaMask or
Dude,
whatever.
wow, I'm
Yeah.
impressed. I probably shouldn't say this in an interview. I'm supposed to be like as objective as possible, but this is pretty. And the fact is people didn't even realize that you guys have been involved in this Ethereum space for so long. You've been in the background working on tons of stuff. It's not like Matic Network is just this brand new thing that came out of nowhere. It's sort of like the implementation of all of this hard work compiled into this project. It's
exactly, and that's why Binance selected us. It's not like our evaluation was like 6 to 8 months for Binance, like, because we are a humble project from India, and we simply got selected. Why? Because of our bidly. Like, we are like relentless.
And unfortunately, I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you, in the community, people tend to associate certain things with events and stuff like that. And you've seen people like, now they're just calling all Chinese projects scams, right? For no reason. And now, and you've even heard people calling Indian projects scams. I mean, how do you feel about that? That's like, it's kind of just lumping everyone into one category, don't you think?
Yeah, and not only about feeling, like, we have actually suffered from this. Like, it took us. Why did it took us so long, to actually come on the global stage? So because of these things, like, we approached a lot of parties, a lot of teams, where we showed our stuff, and people were like really impressed. Always, like, VCs and big ticket VCs, they were always impressed. But then due to this, and then there is some uncertainty about Indian regulation also, right? So although we are like completely insulated from that, we are based out of, our token firm is based out of British Virgin Islands, and equity firm is in Singapore and all that. But still, VCs, or maybe all of these big parties, they associate either with scams or uncertainty with the regulation, and then we had to bear that brand.
Yeah, it's sad though, and it was a rough couple of years for crypto, and there were a lot of scams, and unfortunately now, whereas last year you had a white paper, here, take my money, right? Now it's like you're guilty until proven innocent. Yeah. Now that's like the total opposite this time around, which is good because investors are smarter. We're not making the same mistakes, but now for projects like you got to really prove it. Yeah. You got to prove it. You're not going to just have a little tiny, little mini MVP in a white paper and that's it. No one cares anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And now, I mean, that's the free markets for you, right? So the free markets evolve with mistakes, right? So now the investors have also involved. The token buyers and the people involved in this community, and it's good for the industry. Like, now you must be seeing a lot of good projects and good well-intentioned projects coming out in the market trying to do something.
Definitely, absolutely. So I feel like we've been going for a while here. I guess just sort of, what can we expect? Like short term, and then long term. What's the ultimate goal, for Matic?
Yeah, I mean, from us, one thing we can promise is that you can keep hearing about, the releases, the adoption. So at times myself, like internally to our team, I call ourselves the most adopted layer 2 solution. Like, I don't know that any layer 2 solution in the market right now which is more adopted from external parties, not like they are themselves building applications, but adopted by external parties. It's like one of the most adopted projects.
And most people are just hearing about you for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, we have been in the hoods for a long time. And secondly, you can hear from us, like, quick releases, and keep coming up with the technical stuff that we have been doing, the mainnet, and then things like that. Those are like, we are in fairly advanced stages with every one of these. A lot of things, only testing is going on, some maturization of it, and then we will be out there in the market very soon. So mainnet staking and stuff like that. A lot of things
I
is
mean,
coming.
like so soon as in like this year or?
Year? Year is a very long time. Here's a very, I mean, when I'm saying soon, I'm saying very soon. Like,
Well, it's crypto. I mean, soon is like this afternoon. You know what I mean? Like crypto is like, you know, one day is I don't know.
Yeah. So when I say moon, not moon, soon.
Are you saying you're do you? Okay.
No. So that's
We
a
are
very
not pumping
standing
price,
word.
not financial advice on here.
Yeah. So I was saying soon. So, you think, yeah. So
Moon
I'm saying
soon,
that.
directly from the CEO's mouth. No, okay.
No, so yeah. So when I'm saying soon, I mean that within few weeks or max like 1 or 2 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys move as fast as your project, huh?
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, we've been
like
we've been
in the real
developing for a
world,
long time.
that's crazy. So you guys are just you're just fast people. You want fast transactions, fast tech. It's just everything's coming out quick. I love it. I love it because we don't want to wait around here. We're very impatient in crypto. Sandeep, thank you so much for coming on the channel, man. I really appreciate it. This was actually a surprisingly enjoyable interview. Like I said, I'm really glad that the community brought this up, and I'm really glad I had a chance to look into you guys. And I'm gonna be keeping a lot closer eye on the project. Was there anything that you wanted to sort of leave my viewers with or say before we go?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think I already spoke about a lot of things. I mean, the closing thoughts would be like to your community, like it's like really humbling experience for us that your community pushed for for an interview with us, and like we are like I'm extremely humbled and honored for for your community to calling us here and for to help. Thankful to you also for allowing us to be here. Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank you
They're
very much.
awesome. I do love the community. Honestly, I have to say I do have one of the best
It's
out
one of the
there.
it's one of the coolest community that you have. Like
I love them. I love them. They're awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, that's a compliment for all you guys watching, okay? So, yes, I mean, obviously, here's the thing for everybody out there watching. If you haven't checked out Matic Network by now, definitely have a look at it. But I have a feeling that whether or not you look into this project or not, you're probably going to end up using it in the future, whether or not you like it, because of what you guys are doing. And you already said Coinbase is looking to integrate it. So crazy, awesome stuff. Thank you so much, everyone that came back to the channel, everyone that's been liking, subscribing, commenting. You guys rock. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.